2 cents. I feel
if there be a four bags, then oh, four.
Something mad at you wrong.
Good.
Some smart ones.
that makes them good, especially the first lot. Byron Dickinson just came through today, y'all. Oh, shit.
Oh, no. Hey.
No.
All right. One fell outside.
Or I didn't see her in there.
That's the only reason I walked. I wasn't sure who signed it, but I knew. Y'all got it? Yeah.
I ain't gonna.
We should have some extra pins like that sash.
I share a sash with
I do. When the cup gets down, everybody got those right here. Yes. You sign it. All right.
Hey, thank you all for being in your place. I appreciate that. Got a couple of real quick things to tell you. Look, if y'all looking out for this thing up, does it look crooked?
Yeah.
Well, it is a little deep.
Because I know the folks over at North don't think I'm drunk. I don't know. Perhaps we can stick something under it or something. So anyway, good morning. This is Wednesday morning. We're halfway through the week. We need to have our books with us this morning. We need to have some sign-in sheets going around. There's a couple of new things I want to share with you this morning. We're still talking about depression and anxiety, but we're gonna move away from that today. When we come in here tomorrow, we're going to be working on anger. Today is about how to deal with depression and anxiety through the use of mindfulness. Now, look, mindfulness is a wonderful tool. And if we get mindfulness to a place where we can use it correctly, then all the petty stuff that happens to us can be taken care of. Now, here's one thing I want to share both sides. I really don't know how I'm going to get it done over at North, but we are going to get it done. I'm going to have somebody just let me know. how that's going to work over there. Somebody's going to have to be in charge of going and making sure that it's working that way. But we're going to have a kind of, it's not really a contest, but it's kind of like that. We're going to have the client of the week thing that's going to be happening. And then the other thing we're going to be having is the client of the month thing that's going to be happening. So here's the deal. The client of the week is going to get they're just going to get a donut. That's not a big deal, but it's something, right? It's a something. It's a prize. Going to get a donut. You're going to get to choose the donut you want. You know, if I pick Darnell, which we're not because he's going to be gone too quickly. But if we did, we say, okay, you're the client of the week. He's going to be able to stand up and get, everybody's going to give him some accolades and say what a fine feller he is and all of that kind of stuff. And then he's going to get to tell me what kind of donut he wants. Lots of people like just those regular little glazed donuts. Y'all like those? I don't know. Then some people like those eclairs. It's got all of the junk inside of them and chocolate on the outside of them. I'm getting hungry. Yeah. Some people like apple fritter. Y'all like it? I'm a fritter type guy.
What if somebody wanted a tomahawk steak?
A tomahawk steak? Yeah, that'll work, but they have to be like not employee. They have to be client of the year. And so nobody stays here a year, so we probably won't be getting. You have to, relapse and keep coming back, and we don't want that to happen. We don't want that to happen. So the client of the week, same thing. You're going to get, though, a couple of other things. You're going to get put in our newsletter, and you're going to get a bulletin that we get out. Your name's going to go in there. The client of the week's going to go in there as well. But the client of the client of the week is going to go in there. Then the client of the month is going to go in there as well. And then that person's going to get a certificate, and they're going to get a box of donuts, whatever you want. You talk to me, tell me what kind of donuts you want. Most of the time when I've done this before, people just wanted mixed donuts, all different kinds of donuts. And then when you get that box of donuts, what you going to do with it?
Pass it around.
You can. You don't have to. It'll be your donuts. So you can do that. You can pass it around to everybody in there, and you can just eat them all yourself. Whatever you want to do. Put them in your room, and then eat them as the weeks go by. And let me tell you something. Anybody here ever eaten any stale donuts? They all right? I eat stale donuts. I ain't gonna throw no donut away. So yeah, that's good stuff. So anyway, just so y'all know all that. The other thing is that I wanted to share with you this morning is that we're going to have some high muckety mucks coming through today. So don't throw up on them, or don't cuss them out or anything like that, because they're important folks and they're important to us and they're important to the growth of our industry and all of that kind of stuff. So just be nice, kind, good, sweet to them when they come through here, right? So why are we studying mindfulness this morning?
Our minds. How we feel.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah. So we can control our minds, and we can control how we feel, and all of that kind of stuff. Mindfulness is a good tool. When it first came out, they started talking about it about 30 years ago. I wasn't all that impressed with it. But over the years, I've taken a better look at it, and I'm a little bit more impressed with it nowadays than I used to be. Because what is it? It's just a tool, like all other tools. So it's a good tool. So we'll talk about that tool just a little bit. So our goal for the day as a group, both groups, same goal. What's our goal? Learn a little bit about mindfulness. Know how to use mindfulness. Now, mindfulness is not a magic pill. It's not something that's going to cure all of your issues and all of that kind of stuff. But one of the great points about mindfulness is it helps me get myself under control. Now, let me ask you this. Who can I control? Me. I'm the only one that I can control. I don't know. I worked at the prison for a whole long time, and I will tell you that those guys out there, you would think. So I've had people tell me, well, when you're in prison, you're under the control of the officers out there and all of that kind of stuff. Is that true? No, not completely. No, you still have your own mind. You still have your own choices. You can do what I've been out there and I've had guys come through and they'll be there for a couple of years and no problems whatsoever, and they're going to because they made those kind of choices. I've had other people that in about 5 minutes they're in the lockup. It's called ADSEG out there, and they're in ADSEG because they made those kinds of choices. So you're still, if you've ever read the book, free on the inside. You still can't go outside, but you can be free on the inside because you can make your own choices, right? So, how do you get to be flying of the week?
Do your work. Go to class.
Yeah, those are some good points. Yeah. So if y'all don't like the rules, you have to yell at him. He made them. Now, you have to come to group. Be in group on time. Be participatory in group. Don't get written up. If you get written up, then that nixes it. Don't do that. Do what you're supposed to do here. What are good ethics?
Pay attention, participate.
Oh, those are good ethics, but the definition of a good ethics is what you do when no one's watching.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I like to be the same person I'm here with you guys. I like to be the same person at home. Tonight I'm going to go to church. I'm a pastor. I leave here a little early on Wednesdays so I can make it to church. And I like to do the same thing I do there that I do here that I do at Walmart. I like to be the same. So my ethics don't change because somebody's not watching. If you found $100 bill laying out front of the building here, what would you do?
Keep it back there to go.
There's an honest guy in the back. You keep it. Put it in my pocket. What would you do? You keep it? Okay.
Unless somebody immediately claimed it, I'd probably keep it.
Yeah.
Be like, yeah.
Give me that. Yeah. Finders, keepers, losers, weepers. Yeah, I get that. But, I'm kind of funny about money. If I find a $100 bill out here on the front, I'm going to turn it in and say, hey, I found this $100 bill on the front. If you can find somebody that lost a $100 bill, there it is. A couple of weeks later, if nobody's come claim that $100 bill, I want to see it. Yeah. You still got that $100 bill? But I'm not going to look. If I walk out there and there's $5 bill on the ground, I'm looking around, nobody's there. I'm probably just going to put that in my pocket. But if there's somebody there near, I'm going to make sure they have their money back, right? So that's just who I am, because my ethics stay the same if you're watching me or you're not watching me. So when we talk about that means that when all of the counselors are gone and all of the admin people are gone and all of that stuff, how you act then should be exactly how you act when you're in group, unless you act bad. That's ethics. So we need to make sure we've got that. Look, we still have the same young lady up here, and still not looking real well, still having some issues with depression, still having some issues with anxiety. But one of the ways that we can deal with some of that depression and that anxiety is about mindfulness. Anybody know when I say mindfulness, what does that mean?
Identifying feeling at that moment.
Well, that's a good way to say it. Identifying what I'm feeling right there at that minute, at that moment, at that second. How's that helpful? How can that be helpful to me?
So you can properly address the problem. Like if I'm depressed, I want to try to do things that make me happy. If I'm having anxiety issues, I want to do like meditations, breathing exercises, things like that to on my anxiety. But yeah, if you're depressed, you want to maybe read out of your Bible, say a good happy prayer, maybe go hang out with somebody that's going to make you happy, stuff like that, maybe.
Yeah, those are some good things. When one of my emotions, now we've talked about this about a dozen times, and I know y'all all remember everything I said about it. But when we allow our emotions to get over our intellect, what happens?
We lose control.
We lose control. And we start doing things that we know we shouldn't do. We know we shouldn't do that because now my emotions are on overdrive and my emotions are making me do or allowing me to do things I know that are not conducive to good things going on that day. So I need to make sure that my intellect is always over my emotion. I'm always going to be willing to think it out before I carry it out. I'm always going to look at this and say, okay, what's the consequences of that? If I do something, if I do this, or even more importantly, if I say this, if I act a certain way, if I look a certain way, or something like that, how's that going to be taken, and how's that? I need to take a moment. That's a big part of what mindfulness is: taking a moment to make sure that what I'm about to do is the right course of action. I do know that I had to use mindfulness this morning. I don't know that y'all realize this, but sometimes I get frustrated. Anybody ever recognize the fact that I can get frustrated? I sometimes get frustrated, but that's because I'm a human being. Right? Sorry, I started calling you somebody else's name, and I do apologize. Because it's not a good name. That person is not a good, but you're a good guy. But, this morning I was a little bit frustrated. I was a little bit okay, and I had to sit there and use mindfulness to bring myself back to where myself needed to be. So, okay, in 5 seconds, what's this going to matter? And how about in 10 minutes, how is this going to affect my life? In 10 years, not even going to remember this company. In November, I'll be 72. I don't expect to be working here when I'm 82. I might be. It's according to what they're paying 82-year-old people. So I don't know. I know they don't pay 72-year-old people all that much. So it might go down, but it could go up. So real quickly, before we get off into all the mindfulness stuff, that's what mindfulness is about, though. Helping me collect my thoughts, helping me get myself to where I'm going to make the better choice. Am I still capable of making the wrong choice? Absolutely. Absolutely. I can get into my mindfulness mode and I can bring myself to the moment and I can look around and see what's going on and how everything is going, how this is going to affect me and still step up out of it and do the wrong thing. Right? But it gives me the moment to take a moment to make sure that I think I'm making the right choice. Sometimes I think I'm making the right choice and it turns out to be the wrong choice. So sometimes I'm doing stuff, I'm thinking, man, this is exactly the course of action that I need to take. I need to take that. I need to do this. And then 10 minutes after I've done it, somebody's explaining to me how that's not correct. Y'all ever done that? I have. I've yelled at somebody and then they let me know that's not what you do. And, I've gone to my hands and that's not what you do. I've done this and I've done that. And I did. So it's not a magic pill. But it does give me a moment to pause, think, to reflect on what we might be fitting to do, all of that stuff. So look, this is Wednesday, right? Wednesday, we're still looking at our emotional health, and the thing that we've been kind of focusing on is depression, anxiety, how to deal. Why are we focusing on depression and anxiety this week? So much. Yes, they can be. Yes, they can be huge triggers for relapse. What else are they?
Well, it's just like going through depression, you can lose your motivation.
Yeah.
You can lose like just the will to do anything.
Sure.
That might include going to work, go to the grocery store.
Yeah, he's talking about losing your motivation to go to work, school, You can also you lose your motivation to live the next day. Lots of people get into that situation. So we need to know that when I'm depressed or when I'm getting into a depressive state and when I'm anxious or anxiety is eating me alive, that's not the end all. That's not the end of it. I'm going to be able to do some other good things, right? Some good stuff is going to happen for me. So here's the deal. On Wednesday, we've gotten to the place where we understand that we have something. We started off in denial or avoidance of the issue. We got to a place of yesterday of insight and acceptance. There may be something I need to get done. And then we get to that place of action. You've accepted the need for improvement of your emotional health and are actively seeking help and willing to take suggestion. You found out that there's a something. And then once you found out there was a something, you decided to do something about the something, right? There's something there, so I need to do something about the something. So you're willing to take constructive action towards improvement. See, if you're at that place where you have those issues, any one of those issues, the same thing goes for anger, the same thing goes for addiction, same thing goes for whatever. When we get to the thing on Wednesday, that's a great big step because it says I'm willing to take action. And when I move from the pre-contemplation stage into contemplation and then through all of that and get into a place of action, then I'm where I'm doing something, right? And so this person's doing something about that issue, right? First, I got to know I have the issue, and then I got to know what I could do about the issue, and then I got to be willing to do something about the issue, right? All right, questions, comments, or snide remarks? Look, groceries. That's my favorite truck. Groceries. I can just about bet you they're going to disrupt group here in just about 5 minutes. They're going to come and say, I need all of y'all to come. All right. So here's the deal. There's some things about mindfulness I want us to get a hold of today. And so we're going to go through this real quickly. This is one thing. This is just one little point. And this is meditation. Okay? When we're dealing with mindfulness, we can meditate using mindfulness, and it can help us get to a really good place in our life. The goal of mindfulness meditation is simple. This is why we're doing it. To pay attention to the present moment. Pay attention to what happens after the present moment. This is the present moment. This is what I want to pay attention to. This second, right here. What happens at the next second? Life keeps going on. Life doesn't stop. So I'm going to get into this moment right now, what's going on, and that's going to help me to make the right decision to step into the next moment, the next second, the rest of the day. Because here's the deal, my actions determine how the rest of my day is going to go. It is. Now, sometimes when somebody says something to me personally, I want to say something back. I got some good stuff I can tell people. I've been practicing how to tell people off for years and years and years and years and years. Yeah, I got underwear that's older than a bunch of y'all. So look, I know some really good get you things. But it takes a minute of mindfulness for me to make sure I want to do that. Sometimes I do it. Sometimes I say, oh yeah, that's the course of action I want to take. That's what I'm going to do. But most of the time, when I get into that moment and I understand that this moment, this is just what this is, it's not a big deal. And this is not going to affect me at all. So my next moment is a moment of peace. Pray every day for the same thing. Thank God for grace, mercy, and peace. Because He said He's going to, when he left to go back to heaven, He said, I'm going to give you something. I'm going to give you peace. Not just peace like the world knows, but my peace. God's peace. A divine peace that the world can't understand. So how can I be at peace when somebody's disrespecting me?
True.
How's that? You don't know?
Good question.
Asking God for that God kind of peace. If I have that God kind of peace in my life, then if that person, and we've talked about this about a dozen times, but it don't seem to take, but y'all let it take. Because here's the deal. It's okay if somebody else doesn't like you. And I told y'all this yesterday, I think, but I had a lady tell me the other day that she didn't like me. That hurt my feelings?
No.
It did a little bit. I want everybody in the world to like me. I do. I would like for everybody in the world to like me, but unfortunately, I have a personality, and all of that kind of stuff. Sometimes people don't like me. That's what. You had something?
I did, but
Okay. And look, if I keep going and y'all forget what you did, I'm not going to go too long. Write it down or something if I'm going real long. Because I really want to get your input. I don't want to miss what you have, because a lot of times what you have trumps what I have a whole bunch. So y'all got some good stuff there to say. So let's hear it. So when somebody is disrespecting me or somebody says something, and I get that all the time. I mean, I have to work with people like Miss Susan, and man, she can just get you. See, she can just tear you up. But when they do that kind of stuff, I need to take that mindfulness moment to say, okay, it's okay. How that person feels about me is their business. Right? If I don't like you, that's my business. Why don't I like you? That's not something that we need to spend a whole lot of time trying to figure out. This lady told me, it wasn't yesterday, I think it was Monday, that I don't like you. I didn't spend a lot of time. I just absorbed that and said, okay, I'm not going to let her bring me any coffee. Why would I not let her bring me any coffee?
She don't put eye drops.
She can put eye drops in. She can, rub it under. So I'm not going to let her bring me any coffee, but I'm also not going to worry about you. If she doesn't like me, she doesn't like me. That's okay. I'm not going to spend my whole day trying to figure out, why is it? What did I do? What did I say? Do I have a body odor? What's the big deal? Why don't they like me? It's okay for somebody not. There's 8 billion people on the face of the earth. How many of them going to like you? Well, no, not all of them. Usually when we get that thing, when we do your assessment, we say, how many close friends do you have? Well, what do we usually say? 0 to 2.
Maybe 5.
Maybe 5. 5 is the out. It takes work to have good close friends. So, 5 is the outside. I had a guy tell me one time, I got 45 friends. No, you don't. You have 45 people, you might know their names, but they're not your friend. You may have 1 or 2 or 3 really good close friends, and those people you care about. But all the rest of the people in the world, if they don't like you, okay, they don't like you. Are they going to talk? Are they going to say something nasty behind your back sometime? Probably. I will. If I don't like you, I'm going to go home and tell my wife. There's this guy. I don't talk about y'all because I can't. But if I could, I'd go home and say, there's this guy. I don't know. There's just something about him. He's got a name. I'm not going to tell y'all who he is or anything like that. But his name sounds just like one of the counselors. And Darnell knows that I'm just picking on him. He's nice. Darnell's a nice guy. Y'all come on. Look, here's the deal. The goal of mindfulness meditation is simple. To pay attention to the present moment. Pay attention to what's going on at this moment. Without judgment. Without saying, look, this moment is terrible. This moment is wonderful. This moment, we're just going to pay attention to that one moment. However, as you practice it, you're going to find this gets easier and easier to do. Now, when you first begin practicing mindfulness, it don't make any sense at all. I know what's going on in this moment. Maybe you don't. If I'm practicing mindfulness, I'm feeling my own emotions beginning to rise. I'm feeling the heat beginning, what's going on in my body? What's happening in my mind? What's happening in the area around me? What's happening in my life at this particular moment? Do I need to change course? Can you change course?
Yes.
Yes, you can. At some point, if you're beginning to get angry and you know your anger warning signs and you begin to feel those anger warning signs, if you go into a mindfulness meditation moment, you can stop that and ease that back down. But if you don't do it in that early moment, it's going to get to a level where you can't stop it. It's going to get up here. If it gets up to here, then your IQ drops by up to 40 points, and then you're doing stuff you know you shouldn't do. You know, you're yelling at people, you're cussing people out, you're going to your hands, you're doing the kinds of things that we do when we get to a place we shouldn't be, right? So, during mindfulness meditation, here's how you do that. You focus on your breathing, and we're going to talk about that a little bit deeper later on, but you focus on your breathing as a tool to ground yourself in the present moment, right?
Yeah.
Y'all know who Melody Jackson is? Anybody? Y'all know? Nobody here knows who Melody Jackson is? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Melody Jackson. Melody Jackson was the prettiest girl in my sixth grade class. I've told y'all about that.
I remember that.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
tried to kiss them.
I tried to kiss Melody Jackson. She didn't want to have no part of me. But when I was in school, I used to pass notes to Melody Jackson. But she was the prettiest girl in school and all of that stuff. I don't pass notes in here. But I get to that moment. Does it make any difference if somebody passes notes and doesn't pay attention in groups? It does to them, doesn't to me. You know, I'm going to be all right. Then I miss the whole point. Did you hear what he's saying? We're going to make sure use our. It's normal. It's normal when we're doing that. We're trying to get ourselves to that place that your mind will wander when you're doing that. You know, we were talking about this not too long ago because even when you're praying, sometimes your mind will wander. I'm reading the Old Testament and the New Testament in the morning. I do a chapter in each, and sometimes my mind will wander. Sometimes the Old Testament's a bit cryptic. Sometimes it's a little bit hard to understand, and my mind will wander to other things. So I have to grab it and pull it back in. We need to learn to do that. And that's what it says. It says, look, sometimes it's normal that your mind's going to wander a little bit. You'll simply bring yourself back to the moment by refocusing on your breathing again and again until you got it to where you need it. So there's some things. Here's how you do it. We're going to go over it, and then we're going to talk about some other stuff, and we may have some practice after a while. But we need to practice on this thing if we're going to make it work the way it's supposed to work. So what we do is aim to practice daily for about 15 to 30 minutes. You don't need to take the whole day trying to get this thing right, but just take a little bit of that. More frequent, consistent, and longer-term practice leads to best results. But we need to, when we just begin to do it, a little bit is better than nothing, right? A little bit is better than nothing at all. So we need to find a time when nobody's going to be fooling with us. We need to find a place where you're unlikely to be interrupted. You need to cut your phone off, any other devices, set a timer for your practice length. If you want to practice for 1 minute, just set your timer on your phone for 1 minute or something like that. Y'all know Miss Charnel used to, when she would do this group sometimes, she would do the mindfulness walks, so that you could walk around and just take a look and be in the moment, taking note of everything that you saw, taking note of everything that you smelled, taking note of everything that's going on around you, right? And that's a pretty interesting thing. We don't do that. Why don't we do it? I don't have a long enough cord to take the thing here with me. We might one day go out front or something like that. But here's what you do. You get the correct posture. You sit in a chair or on a floor with a cushion or something for support. You straighten your back, but not to the point of stiffness. Because if you get it too straight, it's going to start hurting, and that's not going to be helpful. Let your chin drop just a little bit, just slightly. Gaze downward at some point in front of you. Usually what I do is find a spot on the floor. Sometimes when I do it, I lay down to do it, and I'll find a spot on the ceiling. If you look up there, there's two little bumps right there, and I can get focused on those little bumps, and that works for me. If you're in a chair, you place the soles of your feet flat on the ground. That keeps you at a place where you're not going to fall over. You got to have your feet flat so that you don't topple out of your chair or something like that. If you're on the floor, you need to cross your legs. Just trying to, if you can do that. I have seen some people who tried to do that but couldn't do it. So if you can't do it, don't do it. Find some other way to get comfortable. Let your arms just kind of fall naturally to your side. With your palms resting on your thighs. If your pose becomes too uncomfortable, take a break. Adjust yourself, get it to where you need it. Then one of the really important things that we need to do is have an awareness of your breathing. Start just thinking about the way that you are breathing. This is a good idea at any rate. We need to know how we're breathing. We usually breathe way too shallow. We need to breathe real deeply. That's why you have lungs that go down to here. So you need to breathe all the way down so that the air gets all the way down into your lungs. If you are a smoker, that will cause you some discomfort because it's going to make the stuff that's hiding in your lungs down there that your lungs can't get out because the smoke has killed all the cilia and everything, and it'll make that come out. So if you breathe deeply, it's going to do those things. So even when you're practicing mindfulness, that's going to happen to you. If you're a smoker, you're going to have these issues. So that's okay. Just let it happen. So because the sensation of breathing are always present, they are useful as a tool to help you focus in the present moment. So we do know we breathe all the time, right? We breathe all the time. And usually, we're not really conscious of the fact that we're breathing, right? We're just breathing. That's what we do. We breathe. So we need to become conscious of our own breathing. Whenever you become distracted doing meditation, turn back and focus on your breathing. I can guarantee you, look, as someone who's done it, I can guarantee you will become distracted. Mouse is going to run around in front of you. The next nuclear war is going to break out. The moon is going to fall out. Something's going to happen to distract you when you're trying to get into some mindfulness. So just know that's coming. Be prepared for it, and then refocus on your breathing, because it's your breathing that gets you into that place of meditation where you can discern what's going on in that moment. Okay? So, listen to your breathing. The rise and fall of your belly, rise and fall of your chest, wherever. Now, here's the deal. Where should you notice a rise and fall when you're breathing? Got a question? You're just stretching. Where should you notice a rise and fall when you're breathing? Your chest? Anyplace else? You say the same in your chest? When you're breathing and it's rising and falling, your chest is rising and falling, what are you doing? Breathing shallowly. Breathing on a shallow level. If your stomach is coming up and down, That means you're breathing on a deep level. So we want to breathe on a deep level and let our stomach come up and down. And you'll be able to discern the difference in that after a while. Notice the fall of your belly and the feeling of the air just being exhaled back into the world. Notice the sounds that accompany each inhalation and exhalation. What are you inhaling? Air. Now, what are you exhaling? Air. Carbon dioxide. You bring in oxygen and you breathe out carbon dioxide. What do trees breathe in? Trees breathe in carbon dioxide and breathe out oxygen. That's why it's an important thing for us to have trees and grass and plants and all of that kind of stuff. Because all plants breathe in what we breathe out and breathe out what we breathe in. So it's good to have them. And that's another good thing about mindfulness. When we're exhaling, we can think about, I'm feeding a tree. I'm putting something out into the atmosphere that a tree or a plant or the grass or the stuff around me can use. So I look, my lung function, whether it's in bad shape or in good shape, my lung function is important, not only to me, but to the world. Right? Because what I'm breathing out, the tree out there is breathing in so that it can breathe out what I need to breathe in and everybody else. So that's something I can meditate on just a little bit. Look how good I'm doing the world. Look what level of good I am doing to my fellow man and to the world and all of that stuff. So that's some really neat. Where's the largest amount of oxygen come from? It comes from all the trees and all of that stuff from where? From the ocean. Why would it? Yeah. Right. All of those little plants and stuff that's in the ocean. Yeah. And so a whole bunch of oxygen comes from there. I had a lady tell me this morning, I was poking at her out there for smoking, and she said, in this part of Texas, with all of these plants and all of this kind of stuff around here, all of this junk in the air, smoking, does it make a difference? Of course, yes, it does. Of course it does. So here's the deal. Is your mind going to wander? Yeah. Absolutely. When you do whatever you're doing, my mind is wandering right now. I got donuts on the mind right now. So we got talking about donuts. I'm not going to eat any donuts. I'm not going to eat any donuts. I am in recovery from sugar. I have done very well. About 2 weeks now, August 22nd, my clean day. So, in a couple of weeks. And so, August the 22nd of 2025, I got into recovery from sugar. Yeah, I hadn't had any since then. And I feel a whole lot more good about it. So that's good stuff. This group here, over here at South, I just want y'all to know it more. Just want y'all to hear this. Here at South, look around the table. What are people snacking on here? Nothing. There's a cup of coffee every but there ain't nothing. Look. I'm not picking on North, but if you go to North, there's enough candy and cookies and stuff like that to open a small store. So that's distracting to me. If I'm over here trying to do some mindfulness stuff and somebody's eating a Keebler cookie, my whole mind is gone now. Look at a Keebler cookie. So what do you do about a wandering mind? Refocus on your breathing, Mr. Darnell said. Okay, so it says it's normal that your thoughts will wander. Like I said, even when you're praying, even when you're reading the Bible, when you're reading some type of other material, then your mind's going to wander. That's what your mind is. Your mind is so magnificent. And I've had people tell me, I talked to a guy sometimes last week about Sunday, being able to sleep. He doesn't sleep very well. So I was talking to him, and he told me the same thing that anybody that's ever had a problem sleeping told me. I just can't shut my mind off. You do know that when you go to bed at night, your mind doesn't shut off. If your mind's shut off, you die in your sleep. Because your mind is what tells your heart to beat, tells you to breathe, it tells you to turn over in the bed, tells you to break wind. It tells you all of those kinds of things that we all normally do while we're sleeping, so your mind doesn't shut off. So I've had people tell me, well, I'm different. My mind doesn't, I can't just shut my, well, no, you're not different. You're like every other human being on the face of the earth. And so went through how to go to sleep. And I think he'll get a little bit better at that. But it's normal that our thoughts are going to wander doing this mindful meditation thing, especially when we just start. We just start doing that. It's going to do that. It's going to wander. It's going to go off somewhere and all of that stuff. What I like about mindfulness is that you can do mindfulness on the fly. What does that mean?
On the go.
On the go. Yeah. When you don't have, look, they're talking about finding you a nice place, getting all comfortable and doing all of that. Why are we doing all of that? Because we're learning to do mindfulness meditation. Once we get it learned, once we know what we're doing, the next step is for us to be able to do it on the go. Do it on the fly. Okay? And so that helps us, because when something happens, I can go to a place of mindfulness. And I'm looking at this moment. And if you said something, or I said something, or somebody else said something, or something happened, somebody spilled something, whatever it was, I can go to that place and be okay in the moment. I don't have to go and do something that's going to cost me something. A lot of the time, we don't count the cost. And that's what mindfulness is about, in my way of thinking. It gets you to that place where I can count it. This is going to cost me. I can do this, and I want to do this. It's going to cost me. So I need to get to a place where I can think about that. I can look at that. See, at times it might feel like a constant battle just to maintain focus on your breathing. You know why it feels like it's a constant battle? Because it is. It's a constant battle. We're not used to doing that. Like we already talked about, that our minds never shut off. So we're always thinking. We're always playing these scenarios over in our mind. We're always doing these kinds of things. And so when our minds start to wander in there, we're going to have to be at that constant battle. Does it get better as you practice it? Yes, it does. It does get better, because you can feel the wonder coming and you can stop it after a while. So don't worry. The wandering part is normal. So here's the deal. This helped me a whole lot when I first started using mindfulness. This helped a bunch. It said, instead of struggling against your thoughts, which is what I did, now, I fought them and I fought them and I fought them, and I was doing the same thing when I was studying the Bible or studying anything. My thoughts would be wandering, and so I fought them and tried to get them out of my mind and all of that stuff. But that usually doesn't help, because even when I'm struggling against them, they're going to return. I can maybe knock them down for a second or two, but the stupid things come back. They're really good at their job, and they come back. So here, instead of struggling against it, simply notice them. Say, okay, instead of when I'm trying to be in the moment, I'm thinking about whatever it is I'm thinking about. Okay, notice them, and notice them without judgment. Don't go over there and say, well, I shouldn't be thinking this thing, or I shouldn't be thinking that, and all of that kind of stuff. Just notice that you are thinking those things. Some of the worst things in the world, when I'm studying the Word and I'm trying to pray, and here comes something that I really shouldn't be thinking about, but I need to notice that that thing is there. Understand it's there. I'm not judging it. This is a thought. It's normal. It's run through my mind. Okay, now it's done and it's gone. If I can deal with it in that moment, it'll be gone. So acknowledge that your mind has wandered. Okay, I'm supposed to be thinking about the moment, and I'm thinking about vacation. I mentioned that 2 or 3 times in here over the last couple of weeks. So what does that tell you? if my mind wanders from whatever I'm doing here, and my mind is on my vacation. I'm ready to go. We're going to be in the woods. We're going to be in state parks. We're going to be in some nice places in Louisiana, Florida, Alabama, Mississippi. I'm going to thoroughly enjoy that. I hope, nothing goes crazy. I'm going to thoroughly enjoy doing that. So my mind, when I'm trying to do something, mindfulness, or when I'm trying to do something that's really something that's important to me, my mind will wander. So just acknowledge it without any judgment. Acknowledge that your mind has wandered and return your attention, like Darnell said, to breathing. I need to turn my attention back to breathing because that's what's getting me to that place of. So expect to repeat this process again and again and again and again. This isn't going to just happen to you one time, all right? This is going to happen to you 27 times. And so 27 times you're going to have to continue to do what you're doing, right? You're going to have to keep going back, keep pulling yourself back to that place. So when we're in mindfulness, we need to know how to do those kinds of things. Now, the rest of this is about grounding techniques. And so we're going to look at some grounding techniques, probably for the rest of the day. There's a bunch of stuff on grounding techniques. But again, let me ask you this. Why do we want to engage in mindfulness meditation?
So that way we can kind of control our emotions, keep a clear mind, and we don't let our intellect. We keep our intellect over our emotions.
Yeah, that's a good point. And look, is it important for me to keep my emotions in check?
Yes.
Yeah. Are emotions okay?
Yes.
Yes, God put those emotions in us for a reason. All of them are valid. All of them are acceptable as long as they are used the way that they are supposed to be used. So if something happens that is against your idea of the way that things should be going, and you get frustrated because of it, or you get a little angry because of it, what do?
Probably just take a few deep breaths, ask a few more questions, and maybe understand.
Meditate a little bit. Yeah. Here's the deal I don't want us to do now, because we're talking about all of these emotions and dealing with our emotions and controlling our emotions, all this kind of stuff. I want us to understand, get to the place where we know no one is saying that those emotions are evil. Now, no one is saying that those emotions are bad. So if they're not evil, they're not bad, they're also not good. What are they?
They're not bad.
They're not bad, they're not good. What are they? What are they? They're neutral. They ain't going and they ain't stopping. They neutral. Yeah. They're emotions. They're emotions. They're not evil. They're not bad. They're not good. They're just emotions. And here's the deal. I've heard people tell me, I had a guy that used to be back, sitting where you're sitting, but it wasn't you, that said, I'm an emotional person. Right? I'm an emotional person. I can't help all this stuff. I'm an emotional person. And I had to let him know that we're all. Yeah. There's not anybody in here, there's not anybody in North that's not an emotional person. We all have the same emotions that work in us. Sometimes we work those emotions overtime, right? Why is that? Sometimes it's a medical issue that we have to deal with. And sometimes there's medication that we have to use to help us deal with it, right? Sometimes that's what it is. But most of the time, it's because we allow those emotions, like you were saying, to override our intellect. And when that happens, what would we do?
It happens. What do we do?
When our emotions override our intellect, what will we do? Yeah, we'll do anything. Yeah, we'll do anything we want to do. Yeah, we'll do anything we want to do. And you know, I had a lady ask me one time, well, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with doing anything I want to do? There are consequences to the stuff that I do. And once I let my emotions get in control, when my emotion overrides my intellect, I'll relapse, I'll abuse other people, I'll yell and scream at other people, I'll attack other people, I'll attack other people's what character. I'll do all those things. I heard a lady on the radio yesterday, I think it was, and she was talking about somebody that she spoke to all the time, but they were on opposite ends of political spectrum. And and they asked her, "How can y'all completely incompatible that way? How do you do that?" She says, "Because I attack the idea, not the person." Yeah, I attack the idea. I don't like it all. I like the person, but I don't like the idea. So I attack the person. So what she was doing is keeping her intellect over her emotion when this guy was telling her something that was completely outside of her belief system, that she didn't allow that to take her to a place where she's going to get angry, get her feelings hurt, and do something that later on might not be good for her. So she's keeping her intellect under control. Anybody ever been in the boxing ring? Been in the boxing ring? What do they tell you? Been there. Now, what do they tell you? What do they tell you?
Keep your hands up.
Keep your hands up. That's one of them. That's one of them. What's the other?
Don't let your emotions.
Say it again. Don't let your emotions get up don't get angry. Don't get angry. Don't get, you're going to lose. Don't get angry. Don't get scared. The minute you get angry, you lose all of your training.
That's what I need.
Yeah, you beat yourself. That's a good point.
I need to talk to me.
Sorry?
I need to talk to me, get your angry.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what he's doing, trying to get you angry. Yeah. There was a little guy that was a featherweight boxer out of Ider, Texas, and his name was Mr. Pips. And he was fighting whoever was the champion at that time, and I can't remember who the champion was. This was 40 years ago. Whoever the champion was, I can't remember who it was. And he was doing all right, but every time he went back to his corner, they would listen, on television, and they were listening to it in his corner. And the guy was saying, "Are you tired? You getting angry?"
Yeah.
And, that guy was working for the other corner.
Yeah.
And so when Mr. Pips run, Pips always fought with his head down like that. When he ran out there like that, now he's angry. He went out like that, and they got to knock him down. So here's the deal. What they were saying is keep yourself in the moment. What's going on right now? Make sure that your emotions are not over your intellect. Because the moment your emotions get over your intellect, just like you said, you've lost the fight. You've lost the fight. And you've lost whatever that situation is. When you've decided you're going to go into it angry, you're going to go into it with feelings hurt, you're going to go into it with whatever, you've already fought. You've already lost the situation. That's done. All right, questions, comments, or snide remarks? No questions? No comments? No snide remarks? None? All right, we're going to take our break, but we're going a little bit early. But come back at 15 minutes after, and we'll get into the grounding technique. You.
Yeah, it ain't fair, bro. Okay. I've been trained. No, that's nice.
Yeah.
I know that too.
I think you're doing great.
Ain't fair, bro. Alright, Doc. I get the message.
Did you get it? Awesome. So the next part is
Sean there. Brandon, you in there?
Yeah. Awesome. That's over.
thank you.
Only the 80. Oh, trust me, how many? Great friend.
On the clock. I said I can build conspiracy.
Hey, very wise person. I had a
Now tell me that ain't some good call.
like you asked me to tell you
Yeah, I know.
you are a very wise person. Thank you.
Yeah, I like thank you for giving me that moment something, but I like these better.
Perfect. Because it's all
Yes. I love this thing. See, my mind focused on like
Your intellect over your.
yeah, intellect over your emotion. Yeah. Well, I got Dr. G. Yeah, G. No, that's all good. Pray.
That's sun chips. Charlie was tasting. Hello. Morning.
Regular sugar. What? Oh, we got it. Coffee sugar.
What? I know. That's I've been asking that for the church. Still. Hey,
No, I'm just
hey, Doctor, I gave you that paper, but it has stuff in there. It has a computer. And it's supposed alright. That was when I went to the cancel out my God did it.
hey, y'all go to the room later in bed. Sometimes it wouldn't put back. It was me. By the
Man, hey, she put my bag in there. My bag was like a what?
Yes. I'm going to be
Correct? So, it's like it's an actual suit, like 5%, and it has that word thing in there, and the other one, I don't know what that is. I couldn't understand that.
no, it's a crossover.
You got to put the words together and make a word.
Yeah, you figure out.
Oh, you see, you put all this sugar. So what you done that thing? Oh, bro.
The sugar, yeah. That's a lot of sugar. That ain't
Where?
really sugar. Yes. Yes. He was fine.
Yes. Now it's like 200 people there, oh man, that thing. What she said, you might not have chance to say hello. Talk to her birthdays.
But think about it. Think about things that are like.
She's like, oh, you're not just here.
You're really frustrated and defeated, but you're encouraging.
But I'm here being my phone and like, dude, the reason that I'm the way that rolling up the forest ran because of this permit. I mean, not in this garden. Darnell taught me how clean and have everything just right in here. And he never even told me what to clean. I watched how he did things, and I just started doing the same way. Go forward and find the same way. As number 6.
She said, oh, I'm like, I'm working on
Oh!
Why did you talk?
Thank you. You. Got some more to say?
Have you been to Austin, Texas?
No, I've never been to Austin, Texas before.
So they got a really cool bar.
See, in the area.
Somebody across that way. Come on, you ever seen an elevator song that you heard? It's not bad, but our first experience of that time YouTube was live.
Yeah.
So when you get that live experience, it's like, you always like that stuff.
I don't know if you ever been to a concert in my entire life, and it was a bunch of underground bands around Tyler, Texas, and it was pretty legit. But I just never had a chance to go to those.
So, how far is it?
Yeah.
All different crazy. I don't know where you stumble across that. Pretty little shows and stuff.
Yeah.
And then you go, you're on video. South by Southwest?
Yeah.
It always fun. And everybody's just so. Last 2 weeks of March. 2 weeks it was on every day. One day.
I'll see if I can.
Listen to it. It's not bad.
I mean, even with this, because I love the band Manor Shorts, the one that I heard. When I first heard the song, without the lyrics, I mean, I still love the song. But when I listened to it with the lyrics, it hit just so much harder, and I was like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I got 3 songs that I was writing. That's some copies too. It's called it's the Paper Man's Trilogy, and it's 3 different songs. And what the songs are about is that this guy who loses his wife, I'm guessing it's like cancer or something. And then, like in the first video, it shows him losing her, and at the end of the first video, he attempts suicide. But at the beginning of the second video, he lives, and it shows him about living his life.
That was another record.
And
I
in
didn't
the
know
other
about
video,
it.
it shows
Okay.
Right now, it's scared.
Yeah. Okay. I was just letting you know so you won't think
it's like hard, and it's like all 3 songs, they're like.
All right, we're back, guys. It's group time. We're a little bit beyond group time, but that's because Byron was distracting me. So I had to get to the place of mindfulness. Well, we're going to talk about ground grounding effect, some way to get ourselves grounded so that we can do these things. One of the big things about mindfulness is that it helps with trauma. How many people know that trauma can happen to us at any time?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Heart rate,
anytime.
heart attack, stroke,
All sorts of stuff. Yeah.
cancer.
Or somebody else in your life passing away. Or, a lot of people look at PTSD as being a soldier's disease, and it is, but not necessarily only a soldier's disease. Anybody can be diagnosed with PTSD, right? Rape victims are known to suffer from PTSD.
Somebody that was verbally or physically abused.
Somebody verbally, physically abused.
The way I come from the project called Kelly.
Yeah.
I got feeling like people shot.
Oh yeah.
When I was 10 and 11, 10 people dead, walk.
Yeah.
I look at that. And I think I still suffer with it.
Oh yeah.
I never really talked about it.
Sure. People talk about, as far as veterans, people talk about them getting shot and all of that stuff. A gentleman who in the Marines and he was hit 7 times. He got 7 medals for being hit. Purple Heart, and his Purple Heart is gold. Because you get shot or you get hurt or whatever it is, you get a Purple Heart. That's for being wounded in battle, and you get a little purple ribbon, and it's got a little medallion at the end of it. It's got a little ribbon that goes on your chest. His little medallion at the bottom of it is gold. It's actually gold. Hit 7 different times, and so I'm thinking, boy, keep your head down, But he's like 85 now, so he's not going back into that situation. But also, if you're in combat and you shoot somebody else, can that cause PTSD? Absolutely. So we need to know that PTSD can be caused by a whole lot of other things other than just military combat, stuff like that. So after a trauma, after something like that happens, after some kind of crazy mess happens, and I'm a complicated grief counselor. That means grief that goes beyond the 5 stages of grief. Somebody that's been grieving for 20 years about the same thing, those people will come to see me, and we do what we can to help them do what we can. But all of those types of trauma will experience some things in our lives, and mindfulness can help us get beyond those things. One of the things, look, when you see somebody that's reacting, really you say something to them, or you do something around them, and they react in anger, or they react with their feelings hurt, or in fear, or something like that, a lot of times we just want to say, well, they're a bad person, or they're just a butthead, or they're just that way. But here's the deal. They could be suffering from PTSD or some other type of trauma, right? And that brings that back to them, and they react. Sometimes the way they react is not appropriate. But they're not reacting that way just because they want to be that way. They're reacting that way because there is a diagnosis there. We need to understand that, receive that. Yes.
I suffer with my mom passed. I'm still grieving on it, but I never touched on it.
Really?
I never saw grief. I never saw grief. So I think that keeps high. But I never touched on it.
Okay. Yes.
And on the outside, I feel one way, inside, another way. But I feel broken because of it.
Oh, yeah. And so, he was talking about the fact that we need to deal with the grief that's in our life. And look, well, you need to. And, you need to find a good grief counselor and go and deal with that grief.
You can build up.
Right.
Build up.
Absolutely.
It just gets worse and worse in your life.
It does. It gets worse. And here's the thing we have a therapist here, and she can help deal with that stuff as well. So when we have therapy sessions, these are things that need to come out in therapy sessions. I have this trauma that happened in my life. I've not really dealt with it. And let them help you deal with it. Because as you deal with the trauma, you more than likely can deal with the addiction.
So the replay personal therapy.
Yeah. You can talk to that person. You can talk to that person about it. That person is a therapist. Yeah. All right. So after a trauma, it's normal to experience some stuff that's coming back, like flashbacks, nightmares, anxiety, uncomfortable symptoms, things that are just going on in your life. You know, you're in combat. You can wake up sometimes and you're in combat. You wake up right in if you're dreaming or something and you're having a dream about a firefight or something you were in, you wake up, you're still in that firefight. You can see things that are just, it looks real for 3 or 4 seconds after you wake up. You see the guy get shot, you know, and, oh my God, you know, for a few minutes. And then that's where mindfulness is very helpful. So grounding techniques are some of the things that help control these symptoms by turning attention away from those thoughts, turning attention away from those memories or worries, and refocusing to the present moment. This is why this mindfulness stuff is good. It helps me to deal with my emotions right now that are inappropriate. It also helps me to deal with all of this stuff. It keeps flooding back and causes me to do goofy stuff, like getting fights, getting screaming matches, relapsing, doing all of those kinds of stuff, even getting into poor relationships. You know, I talk to people about relationships all the time, and when you talk to the couple, you know right off, this is not good. You know, this person and this person should not be together. But one of them was a rescuer, and they went and rescued somebody that they were not capable of rescuing. They thought they could, but they couldn't. And so those people need therapy, not a good hot meal. Yeah. Although, look, I ain't against good hot meals, right? I like them, but they don't help sometimes. So here's the thing. We need to get back to the present moment. Now, there's a couple of different techniques. We're going to look at what's called the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique. I'll get that. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique. I'm doing that. And I slowed that down because I'm doing a training now on how to use the Google Calendar. I told you all about that. And the guy's going so quick, I can't keep up with him. So if I get to going so quick, y'all tell me, and we'll stop. So using the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique, you will purposely take in details of your surroundings. We're going to, on purpose, notice things that are around us. And we're going to use each one of our 5 senses, right? Is there anyone here who has a 6th sense?
Like where it's like you.
Nobody here can read minds. No, yeah, that's like precognition or something like that.
Oh, I thought it was
And you can see dead people. So I don't do any of that stuff, but I do have the 5. Some of them are getting a little duller. The older I get, the little less I hear. And I forgot my hearing aids today. So somebody was cussing me out this morning. I couldn't hear but about half of it. You know. So sometimes that can be good. I don't see as well. When I was in the military, I had 20/15 vision. I could see through walls, you know. But nowadays, it's not quite like that. I still have 20 vision in one eye, but the other one's a little nasty. So we're going to purposely take in the details of the surroundings using each one of our senses. We're going to notice small details that your mind would usually tune out. Do you know that we tune out most of the stuff that's around us?
Yeah.
Because why?
not relevant.
Not just our
It's
senses.
not relevant.
Or yeah, not paying attention.
Not paying attention. It's
makes
been
sense.
there, and it's the same thing that's been there for the last 30 years. So we're not paying any attention to that. It's just there. And it's redundant. We've got 17 of them, so we don't pay any attention to that kind of stuff at all. But sometimes we need to. That's where the help for trauma or these other things come from. Noticing everything that's around me. That refocuses me. That gets me back into the moment where I can deal with all of the issues that I need to deal with. So strive to notice the small details, such as distant sound or the texture of an ordinary object. Anybody ever put something in their mouth that had a funny texture to it? That I was eating something, I don't remember what it was, but when I put it in I've eaten 35,000 of them probably, and I popped that one in my mouth. It didn't feel right. We don't want to eat a fuzzy, hard-boiled egg, right? There's something different about that. So when we're practicing mindfulness, we are going to pay attention to whatever it is we're eating, the texture of it, the smell of it, and all of that stuff. So here's the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique. What are the 5 things that you can see? Yeah. What are the just while I'm sitting here, I'm going to pick out 5 things that I can see from where I'm sitting. I can see a great big old Land Manor Wellness Center thing on the back wall. I see that thing. Yeah. If I move my head a little bit, I see this thing here. It says the best view comes from the hardest climb.
Right.
Yeah, that's because you're watching the clock. And I do too, because the clock is in my thing here. I got that right here, so I'm watching the clock as well. So I can see one of the things that I notice a lot of is that deal on the back wall back there that's supposed to take care of the air conditioning, all of that kind of stuff. And I'm wondering in my wonder why that thing don't work. Because it's either hot in here or cold in here or something. And that's 3, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. And the recovery sign, I notice that thing every time I come in here. So those are 5 things that I can see. Now, those are 5 things I notice. But what about 5 things that you don't notice much? And that's what we're supposed to be doing. What are 5 things that I'm not really focused on?
Something that you see like every day, just for example, when you walk into this room, you know that sign there, that sign's there, that sign's there, you just block the TV's there, so you don't really pay attention to it because you don't focus on it. But then one day, you walk in here and you're like, where did this particular item go?
Something different.
Yes, it's something different.
Right. Well, some of the things that I don't pay much attention to is this thing here. So I can look at that. In 2024, we were a season of giving partner. Okay, that's evacuation plan. That is, I used to be a safety officer, and that is the state of Texas and probably the city of Beaumont requires, the fire marshal requires that to be up. If this place catches on fire, where you going? Out that door. I mean, here's this evacuation plan that says go out that door. And that door's right there. It seems like common sense. But if you don't have that, they'll find you and all of that stuff.
What if that door's on fire and you don't know where else to escape?
That's a good point. If that door's on fire, we may have to go somewhere else. Good point. So we need to be paying attention. That's what we're doing when we're becoming. That's what we're using. That we're going to find 5 things that we can see. And look, we've got way more than 5 things that we can pick out, right? Yeah. Everybody in here ought to be able to pick out 5 things they can see. So, what's number 2? What are the 4 things you can feel?
Air, heat, cold.
Yeah. Well, let's go back to the 5 things because I didn't do it all. Look for small details such as a pattern on the ceiling. We talked a little bit about the pattern on the ceiling earlier. The way light reflects off a surface, and I can see that off of your desk, or an object that you never noticed. Looking around the room, I don't think there's any objects in here that I've never noticed, although that television over the RA desk I don't notice that thing a lot because it's never used.
I never noticed it.
It's never turned on. I mean, I've noticed it, but I've noticed it's never been turned on.
Never been turned on?
I never noticed it.
See, there you go. So what are the 4 things you can feel? They say, look, notice the sensation of the clothes on your body.
Yeah.
Do different types of clothes feel differently on your body?
Yeah.
Yeah. My cousin gave me one time back when I was about 15 a silk shirt he was about to throw away. And it's silk. You know, back when I was a kid, that was a big deal, you know, bell-bottom pants and silk shirts. And he gave me that silk shirt. Man, you have to wear a T-shirt with a silk shirt. They're cold.
You never wanted to take it out?
No, not once I got it on. No, I look really, really good. And the bell bottoms were brown, and the shirt was brown. And I used to tell everybody, I'm dressed down, go to town in astounding brown. Yeah. Say it again to me.
There's some black farm shoes with goldfish.
No, I didn't have any of those. Because I was a poor boy. People had to give me stuff. So, notice the sensation of clothing on your body, the sun on your skin. I really like that. What am I collecting when I go out and stand in the sun?
UV light.
Vitamin A, UV light, vitamin E, all of that stuff. I really love that, especially when it's cold in here. I got there and it's just wonderful. And today's a really good day to do that.
Right.
Feeling of the chair you're sitting in. You know, some of those chairs, we have a lot of elderly people at our church, and so we're going to buy chairs for all the elderly people at our church. And so they voted to buy the chairs, and now they have decided that they want to keep the pews. And the pews are hard and all of that kind of stuff, but I'll guarantee you every one of them knows how that feels. You know. How about pick up an object, something that's sitting in front of you, and see how much it weighs, feel the texture, and look at other
like
qualities.
The difference between an old football and a new football.
Or the difference between the pen that you have in that hand and the spinner you have in that hand. You know. So we can do all of those things, trying to get ourselves to a little bit better place where we are being conscious of things that are around. What are 3 things you can hear?
Noises. Well, what are 3 things you can hear?
Silence, fan.
They said noises. I hear something. I guess it's the air conditioning. I hear something.
That fan right here.
Oh, I hear that fan over there. Yeah, because the air conditioning ain't making any noise.
Vehicles passing by.
Yeah. Traffic that's passing by out there. Every now and then, a little something from the kitchen.
The doorbell.
The doorbell. Oh, good great. For the folks over in North that don't know, they put one of those, the door is open, come on, you know, over here like you have over there. And I told you the one over there, the phone's ringing in the back. One over there, when you walk in the door and then you turn, I have to do most every time I go through the door and turn this way, and that the speaker's right here. And it'll, front door, you know, just about blow your ears out. Okay. And it's not like I don't know. I just gone through the front door, but I'm appreciative of somebody telling me you just came through the front door. What's that about? Why do we have those things?
Awareness.
Say again?
Awareness.
Awareness. Yeah, awareness. When that thing goes off, it's loud enough that every counselor, every RA, every admin person ought to know something just came through that door. It's problematic because after a while you tend to ignore it.
Yeah.
You know, you do.
It's like you get so used to hearing something or seeing something that you just block it out until that one day that instead of saying front door, it says back door, and you're like, right. You know, it says back door, and then there's 3 shots. Then you know, okay, I should have. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So here's the thing. We have that says pay close attention, special attention to the sounds your mind has tuned out usually.
Yeah.
See, we usually tune out some of those things, like a ticking clock.
Yeah.
We don't usually hear a ticking clock. I can't hear a clock ticking. Anyway, so that's not something I tuned out. It's just tuned out. I can't hear it. Distant traffic.
Yeah.
We have people go by out here. I don't know who was in that red truck that just came through, but they came through here at 65 miles an hour. Y'all noticed it, that person?
Yeah, I noticed.
Right through there.
They just did a U-turn.
Yeah, I heard them when they came through here. Are trees blowing in the wind?
Yeah.
Sometimes I can hear trees blowing in. When I have my hearing aids on, I can hear that. We live in the country, and so there's lots of trees and lots of big oak trees that make a lot of noise when they're doing those things. So just that's 3 things we can hear. There are a whole lot of other things that we just don't pay any attention. Now, these are one of the things that drive you crazy. You ever have anybody in your group clicking pins?
Yeah. Or fidget spinners.
Fidget spinners and all of those things. Some of those can drive you crazy. So what are 2 things you can smell? Food. Well, yeah, here at South, we can the kitchen's right there, and we have a really good cook over here, and he's in there. He's always doing something, and it always smells good.
It smells great.
Yeah,
it smells great. Giving it love.
He did what?
He's singing to it. He's singing to it and giving it love.
Thinking through it, giving it love. And I think some other spices and stuff like that. He knows what he's doing around in the kitchen, and it always tastes good. I don't eat a lot of it because my wife makes special food because I have to eat special. So I would just like to know how many people ate some of those hard-boiled eggs.
I did.
Yesterday?
Yeah, that was in that big pot. I saw a few people eating some of those things, and I'm sure they were great, but they looked horrible. They look bad. Yeah, they look bad. So anyway, what can we smell? Try to notice smells in the air around you. Yes,
Chemicals. Not only chemicals, but different types of smoke smells.
Yeah.
Like from a fire.
Yeah.
Like you can smell like burning rubber. You kind of smell if it's on fire versus like oak wood or pine wood when it's on fire.
All kind of anything burning, you can smell the smoke. You go outside here at break time, you can smell the different types of cigarettes that people are smoking, junk like that. We need to try to notice the air, the smells in the air around you. An air freshener, freshly mowed grass.
Oh yeah,
that's good. That's good stuff. You may also look around for something that has a scent, like a flower or an unlit candle. Those things, they have their own special stuff. Each other. We all have a particular odor, right? I mean, we have some people walk through here, and 5 minutes after they walk through here, we still know they walk through here because they smell good. They leave a good perfumey, flowery smell through here. Other people, when they walk through here, we're hoping they're headed for the shower. There's some smell.
Different body washes.
Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff. So that's the 2 things we can smell. Now, what is one thing? See, it went 5, 4, 3, 2. Well, what's one thing you can taste? Food. Of course you can taste. I hope you can taste food. If you can't taste food, let me know because you might have decoded.
Oh, who said that?
Have you ever been able to take you can smell something but you taste it at the same time? The smell is so for example, if you walk into a kitchen and somebody bages some chocolate chip cookies, not only do you smell them, you taste them.
Yeah. Bring that into. Yeah, I can't eat that. So let's not talk about. Man, back there talking about chocolate chip cookies.
Oh.
Talking about chocolate chip. I don't like chocolate chip cookies.
I love chocolate.
I don't like chocolate chip cookies. think chocolate chip cookies are an aberration to the human race. I think the person who first dropped chocolate chip into a perfectly good cookie should go straight to hell.
Oh, that's great.
You can't do that.
Oh,
You make
man.
a lot of you that way.
My wife loves chocolate chip cookies. I would rather have a cookie with raisins in it.
I like gravy.
They just told me they have to let you go, man. I'm sorry.
So he's fired me back there already for not liking chocolate chip cookies. Look, y'all know I have issues with sugar, so I'll eat chocolate chip cookies if that's the only cookie available. Yeah, yeah, I will.
So you like soft or you like?
I like soft cookies, but yeah, I do. And if I got hard cookies, those are perfect in milk. But I don't eat any of that. I told you on the 22nd of August, 2025, I got in recovery from sugar. I'm not touching. I don't eat that stuff. You know, I just don't. I prefer to live, be sighted, not lose my feet, stuff like that. So how about carrying some gum?
Yeah.
Carry a little piece of candy or some small snacks for this step. And when it comes time for that step, you can pull out a little piece of gum or something. I do use sugar-free gum. I have some sugar-free gum, and we usually get this specific type. It doesn't stick to your teeth or anything. And so I bought some yesterday that was the wrong type, and it does stick to you. So that's not good. But small stack, pop one in your mouth and focus your attention closely on the flavors. Put a peppermint in your mouth or something. And if y'all found a few peppermints that I put out there the other day, I'm in my office the other day, and my sugar had dropped, and I said, well, I need to eat something. So I opened the drawer up, and there's all these mints in there. So I grabbed one, popped it in my mouth, and immediately when I popped it in my mouth, I knew, hey, that's a slip. I'm in recovery from sugar. So I brought them all out here, so I'm not tempted by that. Anyway, so that's the one thing. He said, look, pop that in here closely. Think about that. We're trying to get ourselves focused in one point in time. Just think about what that flavor tastes like. Get down there where you can really get into the taste of that. Whatever that candy is, whatever that snack is, we're going, and I know y'all know, okay, going on vacation in October. One of the things that I'm going to do is go to Walmart or some other reputable store and get me some sugar-free
Chocolate chip cookie.
no, sugar-free power bars.
Or protein bars.
Yeah, protein bars or something like that. And I'm going to take those with me. And I'm going to make sure I have enough for one a day, and I'm going to just carry those with me. Whether I eat them or not, they're there. And I have them there for me. So, here's some categories we need to look. We need to choose 3 categories, and I can make sure y'all get one of these if you want to do it. We need to choose at least 3 of the categories below and name as many items as you can in each one. What's that about? It's helping us get focused on one thing. So, let's name 3 movies.
3 movies.
Yeah, what's a movie you like?
Goodfellas.
Goodfellas?
Top Gun.
Top Gun?
Die Hard.
Die Hard. Jurassic World. Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park. You guys named 3 movies pretty good, but you know what? What's a little funny about the movies you name?
Is it a little funny?
No, all of them are old. Those movies 25 years old. So
The newer Godzilla.
it doesn't matter. The newer, yeah, that'll work. How about countries?
Countries. United States of America.
That's 1.
Mexico.
2.
Russia.
Yeah, that's 3. Now look. Tell me your name real quick.
So, what?
Tell me your name.
My name, Brandon.
Brandon? Y'all don't let Brandon be the only one.
Harlem Nights.
Where did
I
it?
like Harlem Nights.
Harlem Nights. We're not beyond that. See, I know you were busy talking to him. But we're beyond that. We're at the next thing now.
Talking about countries like.
Now we're talking about different countries now. So, what's your favorite country?
United States of America.
Rude.
Peru's your favorite country?
Because of the Amazon.
Oh, it's because of he likes Peru.
All the countries.
Yeah. Yeah. Peru's okay, I guess. I don't know anything.
Actually, the Amazon touches a lot of countries.
What were you on?
Amazon rainforest touches a lot of countries.
Yeah, it does.
So that's my
Okay.
dream.
Look, you can choose just about anything you want to choose. There's books, cereals, sports teams, colors, cars, fruits and vegetables, animals, cities, TV shows, famous people, all sorts of things that you can choose in there to take a few minutes. Now you spend a few minutes and come up with as many of those items as possible, and then you allow that, you think about that, and you allow that to bring you to that one point in time where you were watching that movie, or you were driving that car, or you were riding in that car, or you were eating that cereal, or when you were over in another country. How many people have been to another country?
What?
How many people have been up to another country somewhere else? Been to about 7.
Wow.
And when I hit 75, I'm going to go back to Scotland. I've been to England, Scotland, Germany, and Mexico, and Liechtenstein. I've been to Liechtenstein, France. So some of that was in the military. Germany and Liechtenstein and France were in the military. Wife and I went to Mexico. So for a variation on this activity, try to name in items in a category alphabetically. For example, fruits and vegetables, say apple, banana, carrot, so on. All of this is get us into that place where we can begin to think about just that one thing. Now, we're still in grounding techniques, but this one is pretty neat about body awareness. How many people are aware of their own body? Oh, I got one, right? Yeah, I got one. So, body awareness shows us this. The body awareness technique will bring you into the here and now, right now, by focusing on the sensations in your body. Pay special attention to the physical sensations created in each step of this activity. So when we get ready to get into a mindfulness place, we want to do some things that's going to help us take a good close look at our body, how it feels, how it functions, what it does. Number one is take 5 long, deep breaths through your nose, and then exhale through puckered lips. So you take 5 deep breaths and exhale them through puckered lips. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not, but I'm trying to count at the same time. So there's always one. There's always one. You're not breathing through your nose. Thank you for pointing that out. Here's a good one. Plant your feet flat on the ground, and then wiggle your toes. Curl and uncurl your toes several times. Spend a moment noticing the sensations in your feet. Okay, I'm doing it. Yeah, it's all right. I can feel some sensation in feet, sensation in toes. Okay. It's nothing outstanding, but I know what's going on. And then stomp your feet on the ground several times. Pay attention to the sensation in your feet and your legs when you make contact with the ground. Now, here's the deal. You need to make sure that you don't have any problems with your legs or your feet before you do something goofy like that. Okay, if you've got a broken leg and the bone is sticking out, don't stomp your feet on the ground. Okay, don't do that. If you're barefooted and you're standing in a pile of glass, don't stomp your feet on the ground. You know, there's some common sense things there. Then clench your hands on the into fist and release the tension, and you do that about 10 times. And you can feel what that's doing, right? That's getting you back to where you understand what your body is doing. Press your palms together, press them harder, and hold the pose for 15 seconds. Pay attention to the feeling of tension in your arms and in your leg, in your hands and your arms. So just press them together. Rub your palms together briskly. What does briskly mean? Back. Rub them together. What's going to happen when you do that? They're going to get pretty hot. You're going to notice that. Notice the sound and the feeling of warmth. Reach your hands over your head like you're trying to reach the sky. Yeah. Stretch like this for 5 seconds, then bring your arms down and let them relax at your side. When you do that, you're going to be able to feel something. That's a good exercise. You know, we do that exercise when we're at church on Sunday morning. Hands in the air, doing some good stuff. And then take 5 more deep breaths and notice the feeling of calm in your body. When you do these exercises, that's going to do something to bring you to a place of calm in your body. And that's what we're looking for. So nothing is going to get to us, and we can relax, we can calm ourselves down, and we can be in calm. Right? You know, we're all talking about when things happen, what's the biggest thing that we need to learn to do?
Control your emotions.
Let it go. Let it go. I talk to people all the time. This happened to me, boom, 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 boom. Okay, thank you. When did that happen? 8 years ago. Okay, about time you might be able to get over that. What if it happened 8 minutes ago? Okay. We still need to be able. If somebody says something that hurts your feelings and stuff like that, and 4 or 5 hours later you're still fretting over it, you need to stop. Something's not right. So then we're going to move real quickly to some mental exercises, and I don't have much time, but we're going to do it. Use these mental exercises to take your mind off uncomfortable thoughts and feelings. These I probably should have done first, but they're better. They are discreet and easy and to use at nearly any place or time. Experiment to see which one works best for you. But if your emotions are rising, if you're getting a little bit out of control for yourself, you need to take a look at these things. Just look around and name the objects you can see. If you're naming objects and you're looking at stuff and all of that, then your emotions are not going to be able to escalate to a place where they shouldn't be. You know, if you've got something on your mind that you just can't get out of your mind, and you're naming stuff that you can see that's going on around you, you know, and all of that kind of stuff, then that's going to keep that from being focused on something shouldn't be focused on. If you stay focused on the bad, you're going to be mad the rest of the day. And then now tonight you're going to start something just because you're still angry. You still hadn't gotten past that stuff. So focus on something different. Describe the steps in performing an activity you know how to do well. For example, how to shoot a basketball. Let me tell you something. I've seen you guys shoot basketball. That might not be a good choice for y'all because I hadn't seen any people really doing real well. That's why I moved my car over there. Moved it out of the way, you know. I don't want some broken windows and stuff. Prepare your favorite meal, tie a knot. We use this as mindfulness when people tell me they can't sleep. This is what I use to help them go to sleep. You think about a certain thing, describe it to yourself, do all of those things. You got a truck, imagine your favorite truck and a billboard. It's got something written on the billboard. Go in there and take all the stuff off the billboard, put it in the back of your truck, then you drive over to another billboard, take it out of the truck, put it on the billboard, and just keep doing that before you know it, you'll be asleep. And as you practice that, you'll go to sleep quicker and quicker. I've had people come back and tell me, "Well, you stupid, man, that don't work. I did that last night, it didn't work." Do it again. Do it more than once. Do it 30 times. It's going to work. No? It's all part of mine. Pick up an object, describe it in detail to yourself, describe its color, texture, weight, all of that stuff. Count backwards from 100 to 7. Spell your full name and the names of 3 other people backwards. All of this stuff keeps you thinking, gets you back in that place. Name all of your family members, their ages, one of their favorite activities. Read something backwards, letter by letter. Practice for at least a few minutes. Think of an object and draw it in your mind or in the air with your finger. Try drawing your home, a vehicle, or an animal, or something like that. All of these things are designed to bring you back to that one place in time where you can deal with what? Emotion. Dealing, what we are concerned with is dealing with me. Because whose emotions, when we get right down to it, whose emotions am I in charge of?
Your own.
Mine. I'm in charge of mine. I can't do anything about yours. So if you're going to go off and go crazy, that's you, but I'm not going to go off and go crazy. Because I'm in charge of my emotions. Right? All right. Well, thank you. We did a good job today. I appreciate y'all paying attention and all of that kind of stuff. I will be over to pick up the stuff over there. That's all of mindfulness tomorrow.